Once upon a time, there were 7 friends. Years passed and they went their separate ways. But their paths crossed once again when Phyrus found an old yellowed map tucked away in one of his grandfather's dusty books. The map spoke of a legendary treasure buried deep within the forbidden Black Shadow Desert. No one had entered the desert in decades, not after the explorers who ventured there disappeared without a trace. At first, it all felt like a game to the friends. Adventure, riches, and fame. What could possibly go wrong? They set off in 3 off-road vehicles, loaded with supplies, their hearts filled with curiosity and hope. But the desert welcomed its guests with open arms. That's what they thought, until a sudden violent sandstorm hit them. Hard communication was lost, and they were forced to abandon their vehicles and seek shelter. And when the storm finally subsided, Soil and Akram's vehicle vanished. Buried under a mound of sand hours later, they found it overturned, but inside there was no sign of their friends. Lifeless bodies lay scattered around the wreckage, their faces frozen in masks of terror. Silence fell over the group. It was heavy, thick, suffocating. But Rami broke it. "There's no turning back now," he said, his voice tight. "We're closer to the treasure than ever." So they moved on, their hope dwindling with each step. Now only 5. 3 days later, they found themselves at the edge of a dark, narrow canyon between 2 towering cliffs that seemed to reach for the sky. Huge rocks loomed above them, threatening to fall at any moment. Nader, his face pale, turned to the others. "This must be the trap Phyrus's grandfather spoke about," he said, his voice shaking. "I remember him mentioning it in his journal. He said if you enter the canyon, it will swallow you whole." But Khalid, eager to find the treasure, rushed ahead without listening. Suddenly, the ground beneath them all gave way. A blast of wind, the sound of crumbling rock, and the screams of his friends echoed in Khalid's ears as he plunged into the darkness. Then everything went silent. Only 3 of them remained. 2 weeks later, they found an ancient stone temple carved into the mountainside. Hope surged through them. This must be the place where the treasure was hidden. Following a narrow path, they ascended the stairs carved into the mountain. Each step was fraught with peril, with traps, riddles, and stone guardians that sprang to life at their touch. The temple tested their strength, their courage, and their resolve. In one chamber, Rami misanswered a riddle. The walls rumbled and shifted, crushing him beneath them. Taim screamed, but Fires gripped his shoulder, his eyes blazing with determination. "We're too close now," he whispered urgently. "We can't stop. Not for anything." Only 2 remained. Finally, they reached the innermost sanctum. The air shimmered with golden light that streamed through cracks in the ceiling. In the center sat an ancient chest, adorned with intricate carvings. With trembling hands, they pried it open. But instead of gold or jewels, they found a mirror. On the wall behind it, etched in ancient script, was a message that read, "The true treasure is the one who does not lose himself along the way." The inscription echoed in the chamber, mocking their desperation. Taim laughed bitterly. 5 lives lost for a mirror. It's not even real. As he turned to leave, the ground shook, and dust rained down from the ceiling. Trapped, he looked back. The only way out, the passage they had come through, was gone. The final blow came when the ceiling caved in, leaving behind a gaping hole that swallowed the remaining light. Only Fires survived. Alone, broken, covered in dust, he walked out of the cave and stumbled across the endless desert. Looking up at the vast, uncaring sky, he whispered, "No treasure is worth losing each other for." Then he walked away from the cave, not towards gold or riches, but towards something far more valuable: peace.